Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Monday, everybody. It is 9 o'clock in the morning, my time. I'm going to do a little bit of a short live here. It's not going to be too long, possibly just short and sweet. I didn't advertise it. I just listened to some lives here, and some things got me, well, not, nah, I can't say agitated or anything like that. It's just, Tammy goes on and listens to a couple of Row the Hose shorts. Um, just to set you straight, Row. No, Connie didn't pay for me to come out to Michigan. Connie didn't pay for me to come back here. I paid for that. Okay. Um, yes, Connie and I might have met online, but we talked and video chatted for months before I even went out there. So really, that's irrelevant. So you can go by your story or whatever you want to say. It is what it is. I see that a lot of you people just like to just jibber jabber at the gums. Um, you're not all that in a bag of chips, honey. I'll tell you that. Um, I have a roof over my head. I mean, now you do, supposedly. Um, but there was a time there to where you were doing your lives and talking on your channel or your panel or whatever the case may be, and you were always outside, living in a tent, you know, pissing behind a tree or whatever the case may be. I don't know how that works. But ever since that gentleman passed away, or whatever the case may be, if it was your boyfriend, your ex-boyfriend, whatever it is, now you're living like a queen. You know, God rest that man's soul. Because if the man was still alive, he probably wouldn't be living in a house. God forsake. Um, then let's get back on the subject with Miss Haley. I just want to put out there, I wouldn't wish death on anybody, for one. Death just comes naturally to all of us. Our time on Earth is very, very limited. We have to cherish the moments that we have with our family, our friends, um, because our time is not guaranteed. Now I truly, truly understood why my father always gave my mother a kiss before he went to work, or you know came home for lunch and left to go back to work from lunch. Because like my father always says, I always wondered why through years, and I asked him finally. And it took me a long time to ask him, um, and he explained to me. Your time's not you, you're on God's time. When it's time, when it's your time to go, it's your time to go. Um, so to to not threaten somebody, but to wish death upon them is totally disrespectful. Especially when there's kids involved, and how would you feel if you know would you like somebody to wish death on you or your children or your family? It doesn't matter. um I don't know, I can't grasp it. I can't wrap my hands around it. I could never wish death on anybody. um Karma's a bitch. That's what it comes down to. Karma's a bitch. um Haley, I wish you and your husband the best. I hope everything works out. Hopefully, you're a match and everything. With between the for the surgery and stuff, and hopefully everything gets goes well. Um, his body accepts it, doesn't reject it, because unfortunately, when I was married, my brother-in-law, he was previously divorced and he remarried another woman, and she was a very, very bad diabetic. She had an insulin pump, and she had to have surgeries done. And she has a twin, and the sad thing about it is her twin was going to donate a part of her body to her. Excuse me. And unfortunately, her twin sister was not a match, but a colleague of hers from work. was a match, and everything worked out well. So for somebody to go on to onto a live and even post, death, wishing death on somebody. I mean, that's just, I don't know. I just, like I said, I can't wrap my hands around it. I wouldn't wish death on anybody. Like I said, all our time is limited. That's what it comes down to. We're on his time. We're on limited time. We're not guaranteed tomorrow. Um, I'm just guaranteed for today. So, needless to say, I just take one day at a time. When it's my time, it's my time. I'm not gonna, why am I gonna more or less cry over spilt milk? Um, Death is part of life. It's around us every day. We hear about it every day, and it's got to be accepted. You know, um, and I'm not sure how many of my moderators I have on here or anything like that. Um, and it doesn't bother me that I don't have my mods with me today. I'm sure one or two of them will pop in, or they might comment, or whatever the case may be. I'm just doing this for me. I'm not doing it to block anybody, to time anybody out, or whatever whatever. I'm just on here stating, my opinion. You know, and I did state my opinion about Roe. Roe, you did. You lived in a damn tent. You lived in a backyard. How'd you shower? Um, did you have a bunch of guys come into the backyard, pee in a big water bag above your head, and it was warm, so you took a warm shower? Yeah, they call that the golden shower. You ain't got a tooth in your mouth. See, I got all mine. I got all mine. They're not false. But some of you people that you guys should really go to a cemetery or something and maybe get yourself, or the morgue, and get yourself some teeth. Um, you'll be able to eat corn on the cob, but I'm sure you can really shuck a corn on the cob, especially with those fucking gums the way they flap. And then we're gonna get on this other subject, and I'm gonna do a real intense live about it because I want to do my research. We've already done some research. I just want to try to reach out to a few people that do these, and that's called animal rescues. Okay, there is certain protocols. There are certain rules and regulations that you have to follow, that you have to do, you have to obey. Um, you just can't falsify that you own an animal rescue. And just to put it out there, Dippy, and I'm talking about you, Dippy, because you are probably one of the stupidest fucking people that I've ever met in my life. Okay. Um, I hate to say it like that, but you do not have an education at all. Um, I don't claim to be the smartest guy in the world. I don't claim to be the stupidest guy in the world. Listen, if you ask me a question, if I have the answer, I'll give you the answer. If I don't have the answer, I'm going to tell you I don't have the answer. But I'm going to answer your question to the best of my ability and very honestly. So, with that being said, your dogs, I remember a time when I started doing a live with Andrew that you were trying to get rid of puppies, and then I heard that you had more puppies. So, what is it? Are your puppies breeding with the other puppies? Is what, because all these inbred dogs that you have are the reason why all these other dogs are in shelters, because people like you keep your dogs locked up, whatever the case may be. You make it look good because you do a live and you're walking them and you find a snake and you thought it was a blade of grass. You make yourself look good. You really make yourself look stupid with some of the stuff that comes out of your mouth, to be honest with you. Um, with all the lives that we've all been on in the past, um, it doesn't take me long to really know the way somebody is, to be honest with you. Um, you sat there and said yesterday on your live that you work. you make your own hours. You can go in for a shift of 2 hours. You can go in for a shift for 4 hours. You can go in 2 times. You can do 2 shifts. You can do 3 shifts. You can do 4 shifts. I like to know what kind of job that is. Especially when you do dog rescue. And exactly, especially if you do dog rescue, you should be there with your dogs. They shouldn't be locked in a kennel or a cage or anything like that. There's certain paperwork you have to obtain to legitly have a dog rescue. It's called, the 501c or 5013. You got to be registered. You got to have volunteers, especially with all the dogs that you have. Um, there's tax benefits. There are fundraising things that you have to follow through with. But you are supposed to have volunteers, and that's what they're called. They're called volunteers. Well, you don't make enough money, and you probably don't do that fundraising stuff to even get anything for those animals. So sorry to say, whoever is supporting those dogs, I feel sorry for them. My dogs, my dogs are well taken care of. My dogs probably eat better than you do. When I have filet mignon or prime rib or a freshly made hamburger, my dogs eat the same thing I do. They get fresh vegetables. They do eat fruit, which is very good for them. I doubt you do that with your dogs. And it's people like her that ruin it. It's people like you that ruin the name for rescues. Because I'm sure there are a lot of good rescues out there. And as a matter of fact, Tammy knows her shit about rescues and she knows her shit about dogs. So like I said, I will reach out to a couple different people that run legit rescues. And I'm hoping I can actually reach out to the one that I want to do a live with because I'm sure there's plenty of people that have a lot of questions for her. I do myself because now, I don't care about you, Dippy. I don't wish death on anybody. Like I said, I don't wish death on you, anybody that I've dealt with previously in my past that I've had an issue with or they've had an issue with me. I feel sorry for those animals because the sad thing about it is those animals are going to pay in the end. And it sucks because they don't deserve it. Yes, me owning 6 dogs, is it a little overwhelming? Absolutely. I'll be more than glad to admit that. Um, it's very, very overwhelming for Tammy and I. But we get through it. We deal with it. We take care of our animals. My animals are healthy. My animals eat 2 times a day. I have cats. My cats, there's food in their dishes at all times. Their litter boxes are changed, scooped, whatever, all the time, you know. Um, but yeah, I mean, you guys really need to get your information straight before you call yourself a rescue. Um, Follow through with what you're supposed to follow through with. I mean, if you want to become a legit dog rescue, do what you got to do because there's a lot of programs out there that will help you get the things you need, and there's a lot of information out there that you can get educated with. You can become a very well known rescue. Um, but living in a trailer, that's not really. Are you going to make bedrooms into kennels? Are you going to put big metal cages up in bedrooms? Are you going to stuff a dog in a closet? It's like how do you? Where do all these dogs sleep? How many do you have? And it's sad because an animal doesn't deserve that. I hate to say it like that, but you know, my animals eat my animals live and eat probably better than most of the people that live in Johnstown and Gloversville. And I'm not afraid to say that. But I'll put it to you this way: if it came down to me eating or my dog's eating, my dogs are going to eat before I do. That's a guarantee. You guys want to sit there and degrade everybody, pick on everybody, talk shit about everybody. When I first got on the YouTube, it wasn't about that. We all got along. We talked about a lot of different things. We joked around. Um, we made it fun. Now shit's got serious. I mean, you got people on there wishing death upon people. You got people on there talking shit about really what they don't know about. Like I said earlier, row, row. You go from one person to the next person. If you don't get no satisfaction out of this person, you go to the next person and see what kind of rise you can get out of them. You know what, honey? You ain't getting no rise out of me. It doesn't bother me what you say. You can think all you want that Connie paid for me to come out there and paid for me to come back. Do you really know the whole story? Get your fucking story straight, girl. Worry about taking care of yourself and your fucking life. Because your life right now is, well, no, I'm not gonna say your life is all fucked up because now you got a house to live in. You can make yourself a fresh cup of coffee. I bet you feel fucking privileged, huh? I bet you feel like a rock star that you can have a real cup of coffee. Not when I can go out to my kitchen, just put a pod in my coffee maker and just press the button and then voila, voila, I got a fresh cup of coffee every time, you know? And the question is, are you legally supposed to be living in that house? Did that man own that house or did that man rent that house? Does the landlord know that you live there? Does the landlord even know that that man passed away, per se? Okay. So get your facts straight before you come on, do a short and talk all that shit because you know what? It doesn't bother me. That was well over 2 years ago. So it's irrelevant. So you can keep on talking all the shit you want. It's just sad that it came down to this because, as I said, we all used to talk and joke around and laugh, and at a time when I first started doing lives with Mr. Andrew Pandrew, um, there was a lot of conversation and a lot of talk about the Summer Walls case, but we're not going to get on that. But just to let you know, yes, we did talk a lot about it, and some of the conversations that we would all have was very, very interesting. You know, you had a lot of people that actually cared about the well-being and where this little girl was. And it's like now you still have people that are very involved in it and that want, that have questions that want them answered. And everybody just beats around the bush. Why? What are you hiding? Because let me tell you something, regardless of who you are, it could be me, it could be Tammy, it could be any of my moderators, it could be you, Andrew, for yourself. I don't think you would want people to wish death upon you or your family or anybody like that. Um, you know, and I'm not just pinpointing Andrew. I put Andrew's name out there. I'll put Dippy's name out there. Rose, um, Casey. You know, just think about if that was your child, how would you feel? When you have a group of women and men that will go above and beyond to try to find answers and to find out what happened, you know, nobody's trying to pinpoint Hunter, Andrew, they just have questions for the fact is because, he was very close to that little girl. I'm not saying nothing bad about Hunter for the fact is because I don't personally know Hunter. Um, I remember a time when he would get online and here and there, and you got a little smart, with you and stuff like that. Um, but that's kids. Kids do that shit. It's no different than the two children that reside with you now. I'm sure they give you a run for your money, and I'm sure that they give you a hard time. Um, but it is what it is. It's just part of life. That's what kids do. I mean, look what we all did to our parents when we were kids. We weren't the best. We probably weren't the best children by any means. I know I wasn't. So, but there's a lot of people in this world that make themselves look to be something that they're really not, and it's sad. be your own person, live your own life, you know, take care of what you're supposed to take care of, you know. It is what it is, you know. All this back and forth shit talking and you know, where does it get anybody? It doesn't get anybody nowhere. I don't like the shit talking. I don't like to sit here and degrade. I won't degrade somebody. But you know, you know, people come at me or Tammy and they want to talk all that kind of crap, then yes. Then I'm gonna bring out the bad side of me. I'm gonna say stuff to you. I'm gonna hurt your feelings a little bit. Do I care at that moment? Absolutely not, because what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Dippy, girl, let me tell you something. You got to go to a hygienist. You got to go see a dentist. You got to go see somebody because that mouth, that's disgusting. I hope you really don't, you know, because you're gonna tear that thing up like a fucking cheese grater, you know. And I'm gonna pinpoint you, Dippy, because you love talking shit. You are a useless human being. You shouldn't own animals. I don't even know how the fuck you can have a job, to be honest with you. Seriously. You and Rose should just pitch a tent in the backyard somewhere or in an open field, get a 2-room tent, and be roommates. Because that's all you two do is talk shit. You know, you can be the Banger Sisters. There you go, Banger Sisters. Make the new movie. Make a Banger Sisters too. You know, I like getting on these lives. I like talking to many, many different people. There's many different people out there that I conversate with. You know, chit chat back and forth, and it's a shame because it's like everybody should get along. You know, it shouldn't be all about that negativity and stuff like that. Um, Good morning, Mama Bear. Good morning, Nada. I don't know who that is. Hold on, guys. Oh, get the dog spawn, please. Um, Somebody just knocked on the door, so that's why the dogs are going nuts. Um, Thank you, Viking Oil, for stopping in. First time I met you. First time I seen you in live. Thank you for stopping in. Now, I'm not one of those troublemakers. I just like going on here and listening to shit and you know trying to set shit straight because you got a lot of people on here that do talk shit, um, and I don't like it. I truly don't. I truly don't like it. Oh, go. Oh boy, A1's on. It's too early for you to be up, girl. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of good people out there. A lot of good people. Nada, Mama Bear, A1, Act Right, Suzette, SS Brown Baby. I mean, Po, Popo Wick or whatever, Joe Popo Wick. Um, but it is. It's there. You get some of these guys. And when I first started doing a live with Andrew, Andrew wasn't about talking shit to people. I don't know what the hell happened, honestly. I don't know if somebody Cheerios or if he pissed in somebody's Cheerios. But what it comes down to is that you you do lives and you start talking about certain shit and you say you haven't you don't say stuff, and this goes for everybody. I mean, I'm sure I've done it. I'm sure other people have done it, but you say stuff and then you contradict yourself and say, well, I didn't say that. Well, the thing is go back and look at your live, because you say one thing. And I'll bring up a perfect example. I remember many times, Mr. Andrew sitting there saying how he never met Summer. But I just watched a live that he did 3 years ago stating that he did meet somewhere. He played with her. Okay, where did you play with her? Where did you meet? Where did you meet this little girl? Did you meet her at the home? Did you meet her at a Dollar General parking lot? A Family Dollar parking lot? Did you meet her on the side of the road somewhere? Did you meet her in a storage unit facility parking lot? You know, um, that's questions that people have. So be honest with them. Happy Monday to you too, A1. Um, it just sucks because certain people can't answer these questions honestly. They beat around the bush, and there's no need for it. I mean, we're talking about a young child, somebody's daughter. You have a mother and a father that are heartbroken, you know, per se, that their little girl's gone. They'll never see her again, and it's a shame because, like I said before, if this was my child, if this was my son's child, if it was one of my grandbabies, if it was one of Tammy's children, if it was one of Tammy's grandchildren, I would do the same thing. I would go above and beyond and turn over every rock that I possibly could and get as much information that I needed to find out what the hell happened to that child. Andrew, you of all people know the type of relationship that I had with those girls, and let me tell you something. And I'll still say it to this day. If something happened to one of those girls, let me tell you something. I would be devastated because no child, none, deserve that. This world is a very, very fucked up world. When I was younger, you didn't hear about the kidnappings and the human trafficking. Yes, I'm sure that it was there. We just didn't hear about it. It's becoming an it's becoming part of our everyday life today, is what it is. That's all you hear about. Perfect example, a friend of mine, she works over in Troy, New York. She works for the state. She works nights. She is head of more or less like almost like a hotel, but it's in a state building. She does all the cleaning of all the offices and all that stuff. She has a crew. She is the boss. She runs her own crew. She takes care of she takes care of shit. On her way to work one night, she pulls into the gas station that she goes to all the time, and another van pulls up on the other side of the pump. Well, all of a sudden, out of the corner of her eye, she sees this woman trying to open this other female's door of her caravan and tries to take a child out of the van. That's how easy it is. That's how fucked up this world is. So, like I said, no child deserves that. A child deserves to be with their mother or father. And if that mother and father is not capable of taking care of a child or that child per se, there are many families out there that will. I know a lot of people that have been adopted out, um, and they have a good life. Yes, they do have a relationship with their mother or and their father per se. And when you're adopted out, when you're at that age, you have questions. When you hit that certain age, you want to know because the question is like what why don't I look like my mother, or why don't I look like my father? Why don't my siblings and I look alike? There's always those questions in the back of your head. Nobody ever in this world is a perfect parent, because let me tell you something. If this world was a perfect place, we wouldn't have what they call law enforcement and court systems and prisons and jails. Everybody would live in peace and harmony. But unfortunately, that's not the case. That's not the case. It just breaks my heart that you have people out there in this YouTube world that you know wish death on people and adults and children and somebody goes on there and says that if it was 4 years ago, it doesn't matter anymore. It's done and over with. What do you mean it's done and over with? It's never done and over with until justice is brought for that girl. For no matter who it is, nobody deserves that. I know if I came up missing or something happened to me, I mean, how do you think my family would feel? For one, I have a very, very close relationship with my family. I have a very, 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 very close relationship with my sister. My sister and I are very, very close. My brother and I are very, very close. My brother is in a wheelchair. I'm 53. My brother is going to be, as a matter of fact, I believe my brother is going to be 48 on the 23rd of this month. And like I said, my brother's been in a wheelchair ever since he was 11, 12 years old. He's got two beautiful kids. I got a niece. He gave me, he made me an uncle. I'm a niece. Yeah, and then he gave me a nephew. I love my niece and nephew dearly. My niece is 22. My nephew is 18. Graduated. They both graduated school. That'd be like my brother calling me up right now, telling me that something happened to my niece or nephew. Um, I'd I'd bug the fuck out. I would do what I have to. I would do what I had to do to find out what the hell happened. Um, but like I said, no parent's perfect. I'm gonna put that out there on the table. I wasn't a perfect parent. Um, I'm sure there's other people out there that can say the same thing, that they weren't perfect parents. Um, life is not like a box of chocolates. Trust me, life is what you make of it. If you want an easy life, you want an easy living, you go out and you work for it. You make it as easy as possible. Yes, you're gonna fall sometimes. That's just part of life. Everybody falls. Um, I've fallen plenty of times, but you got to pick yourself back up. You got to dust yourself off and move on. Continue on to the next chapter in your life. And I mean, a lot of these people on the YouTube, and I'm not going to pinpoint any of them, but but they know who they are. You do have people on this YouTube channel, in the YouTube world, that care a lot about kids, that care about, you know, you know, you know. Let's give it this way: life is like a box of raisins. You eat too much, you get shit. But that's very true. I never looked at it like that, Nada. But there's a lot of raisins in this fucking world, though. That's the thing. Because it's like these people, these people that do this shit, and they cause a lot of bullshit on their own, and when it is brought to their attention, you're the bad person because you just pointed it out to them what they did and what they said, and they don't like that. But they'll be the first ones to where if you come out with some crazy shit, stupid shit, you talk negative about somebody, or if that was me wishing death on somebody, yes, I would expect somebody to come out and bash me, or not so much bash me, but you know, flip their lid. You know, when you say that to somebody, listen, that really puts my panties in a bunch, and I don't wear G strings. I wear boxer briefs. You know, um, I don't know. I just can't wrap my head around it. Why? That's that. And when you ask that question, why do you say that? They can't answer you. They can't give you a straight answer. And then you got like I said earlier, it's like you got lips, you got fucking row, you got fucking dippy. and whatever other ones he deals with, you know, I don't know, were they born, did they get the idiot fucking chromosome or something? Because it's like some of the shit that comes out of their mouth, a person that has been in a mental institution for years probably can speak better than them. They're miserable souls. Yes, they are, Mama. Yes, they are. It, it's sad. It truly, truly is. It's very, very sad. That people got to be that way. Because it'd be no different than with Mama Bear. I'm sure Mama Bear's got, I mean, she's got kids. I don't know if she has grandkids. I'm sure Nada's got kids. I'm not sure if she's got grandkids. Act Right or anybody else or A1 or Joe Popowek or whatever the case may be. I listen, I would stand up for them too. You don't talk that way to anybody. You you try to help them. You tried to guide them. You give them advice. You give them your point of view. And Mama Bear is right. All they know about is mean comments. They don't want to ever stand behind somebody. You got the Panda Crew. All right, the Panda Crew is the Panda Crew. We all know how they operate. We all know how they work. Um, they always want to go on YouTube and they want to talk a bunch of bullshit to us per se. You know, um, they said, the other day when Haley was doing a live and when they were really, really, being very, very disrespectful to her. Yes, Haley didn't reach out to Tammy. Tammy was on the live. Tammy came home and said, "Hey, you got to do this." So I said, "Listen, get me in the live. Put me right in there." As soon as I got in that live, all of a sudden they don't want to fucking talk shit no more. Why? Because now I'm going to spill your beans out on the table. I'm going to put your shit out on the table. I'm going to call you out. I'm going to call you out. They have a problem with PG. Why? Does PG do her investigation and her does she get information that really, really hurts you guys? I believe so. All due honesty, I believe she does. Um, I haven't personally talked to PG. I haven't personally been on one of PG's lives. Um, and Mama Bear, just to let you know, I did reach out to that gentleman that you wanted me to reach out to. I just have to email him. But I will email him today and I will reach out to him and I will talk. And I believe you know who I'm talking about. Um, but I'm sure he's got some information too, Um, and he's another one, and if I can get this gentleman to come up on a live or whatever and talk, there's not going to be no disrespecting him. I'm not going to tolerate no bullshit with these other fucktards per se. I'm going to bash him because you will be blocked, you will be timed out, whatever the case may be. My moderators will not let you do it. Absolutely, they will not accept it. One thing I can honestly sit here and say, doesn't matter. I could go on Mama Bear's live, and there could be A1 Way Street out there in there. It could be Nada. It could be Act Right. It could be SS Brown Baby. It could be all of them. And there's no disrespectful talk between those females. Why? Because they all respect each other. They're all after the same thing. But then you have the crew that they thrive off of the negativity. They thrive off of starting bullshit. They thrive of talking down to people, thinking that they are on this pedestal that's way up here. You know what? I'm on my own pedestal. I'm on my own pedestal. It might be only 2 foot off the ground. It might be 5 foot off the ground. I might put myself on that 45-foot ladder that I set up to a roof. The height of my pedestal is what I want my pedestal to be. I'm not going to sit here and say that I live better than anybody else. I'm not going to sit here and not admit when I was wrong, but I'm not going to sit here and let people degrade or talk down to good people when they don't deserve it. I remember a time, Andrew and Dippy, when everybody used to talk. Listen, honestly, back then, if we didn't do video chats, Jesus, for crying out loud, honestly, and I'm sure Mama Bear could probably verify, if we didn't video chat 2, 3 times a day, we didn't video chat at all. We were always video chatting. We were always talking to each other. I mean, I didn't know Act Right back then. I didn't know Nada, or any of the other lovely, lovely people that I have had the opportunity to converse with on a live. Um, but they're good-hearted people, and I don't understand why there's so much negativity, and negativity it eats your soul. You know, I have a soul. I have a heart. I have feelings, just like everybody else. That fucking Panda crew, for some reason, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like they have a heart. They don't have soul. They don't have respect for anybody. They don't have. Is it that bad to where you don't have confidence for yourself? I'm very confident of myself. Like I said, I'm not perfect, but I have confidence. I have confidence. And if I put my mind to it, I can do anything I want. I was always told that as a young boy with my father, my grandfather, my mother, my grandmothers, my grandfathers, my uncles. You know, I have a lot of trades behind me. A lot. I was a diesel mechanic. I'm a black topper, seal coater. I've done black topping and seal coating for over 30 years of my life. Um, Diesel mechanic. I worked for the railroad for close to 5 years, 5.5 years. I'm fully invested. So when I do retire, I collect that. I collect a union retirement check, and then I also collect my Social Security. Um, I know how to do carpentry. I can dig a hole. I can pour foundation. I can build a house. I know many licensed electricians. I know many licensed plumbers. I know many licensed HVAC guys. I can build everything. They come in, they inspect it. I like that. You know, um, when you sit there and you say that you're a roofer, you got to describe. You got to give me the definition of what you think a roofer is. Okay, a roofer is somebody that climbs up on a roof and actually does roof. Actually knows how to put down the paper and lay the shingles and operate a nail gun, and not actually nail their feet to the fucking roof because they're not sure what to do. I can roof. I know how to roof. Um, I know how to do all the windows, siding, soffit, fascia. I'm a certified mason by trade. I have certificates. Um, so I have a lot of trades behind me. And I'm very, very thankful for that because I've learned a lot through my life from my father, my grandfather, my uncles, even friends, you know. Um, I have a high school diploma. Yes, I didn't go to college. I probably should have went to college. But I chose not to because I chose, hey, the grass is greener on the other side. It's better over there. You know, In Lips's case, the shit's better on the other side of that fence, I guess, you know. Oh. But it's nor there, you know. They just like talking shit. Um, it don't bother me, but don't go on there and talking shit, being disrespectful to the women and men that are on my live. And when I join their live, don't go on there and be disrespectful, you know, because you will get timed out, you will get blocked. Um, you can come up with a a fake account or whatever, because I've already noticed that Dippy has probably a couple of them. I'm sure Lips does. Rose, she's just, I don't know. There's some I can't explain that woman. You know, she just doesn't. She talks about shit that she really doesn't know about. For one, um, Tammy brought to my attention that she puts up my mugshot. Honey, if I want to see my mugshot, I'll just call my uncle. He's law enforcement. I can get my mugshot mailed to me. I can get it even sent over to my phone. Um, and it is. That's what it is. And you're very, very welcome, A1. And it is. I'm calling out the disrespect. And there's no need for it, because I don't see none of you. I listen honestly. I don't see none of you girls doing it. You guys are only. When Mama Bear does a live and Act Right gets on there and Suzette, I mean, they just say it how they just speak it how they see it. And all the other bullshit gets them started. So when you, like I said before, when you push that animal into a corner, that animal's going to come out and do what he's got to do to defend itself. You know, I get the biggest kick out of Mama Bear's lives, though. All due honesty. Good morning, Angel on Earth. Um, but that's how they play that game. You know, yes, they do. I mean, Mama Bear just said, they act like we're scared of them people with them badges. No dumb fuck. I have some that are blocked. Blood kin to me. Exactly, exactly. They do. They think. Listen, I'm not scared of nobody. Absolutely not. I'm not scared of nobody. Um, I've proven that already. One thing I can give Andrew, honestly, and it's not that I respect him, or I'm gonna kiss and make up with him or anything like that, because that will never happen. I'll guarantee that. I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him, and I'm sure I could throw a skinny ass, but quite a ways. And that's the thing. When you do get physical with somebody, or you do get into an altercation with somebody, um, they want to call the cops. I don't like the cops. I don't like calling the cops. Yes, I know. It's not that I don't like them. I do. I mean, I wouldn't want their job per se. Okay, that there you go. That's what it comes down to. Because I do respect them. Maybe in my younger years, no, I did not. But getting older and learning a lot more things in my life, becoming smarter, not thinking smarter, not harder. It's better to show them respect, because then they give you they give you respect. Um, Andrew doesn't have respect for himself, so he's not going to have respect for anybody else. That's what it comes down to. You know, um, it's fucking sad. It really is. It's really, really sad. I respect all the people that I've dealt with on this YouTube, except certain ones, because that's what it comes out. They don't have no respect for themselves. So if you don't have no respect for yourself, how are you going to show other people respect? Because when they show you respect, you're not going to know how to react to that. But maybe it was their upbringing. Maybe it was the way they were raised. We don't know whatever happened in their childhood, or whatever the case may be. But and like Tammy said, it's no excuse to be a shitty person. And just and I'm going to put this out on the table. Um, I remember a time, this was before Tammy and I got together. Um, Andrew's brother Evan was moving from one apartment to another. Better situation, I can say. Um, so I helped move him from his existing place to another place. And Andrew and I come up the road to pull up in front of Evan's apartment to put the bigger stuff in the truck and things. And this is where it comes down to the disrespectful and being immature part. There's his mother out in the middle of the road at 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, if not earlier, maybe 8 o'clock, yelling and screaming at the top of her lungs and using every swear word in the book first thing in the morning in the middle of a street, telling her son, that you're a useless piece of shit and you were supposed to be here at 7 o'clock or 7:30 or whatever the case may be. It's like, what the fuck did you get out of that? That just You just put a bad taste in my mouth. You just made me think you're a useless piece of shit, to be honest with you. So if she did that at that age that Andrew was at that time, and I'm not using this for any excuse, and I'm not sticking up for him, but is that something that he went through all his childhood? Is this the reason why he is the way he is today? God only knows. But still, you're your own person. You should be, you're your own person. You should live life to the fullest, and you should you should respect people to get respect back. So to be disrespectful like that is very, very uncalled for. To talk shit to somebody, to wish death on somebody is very, very uncalled for. But that's the type of people they are. Because if things don't go their way, that's what they become. And that's what fucked their friendship up. And that's what fucked my friendship up with Elisa.
And yes, I am talking in the background because I'm talking out loud. I'm not telling them what to say.
So because I talk to Mama Bear, because I still conversate with Mama Bear, and I'm sure it really, really fucking gets them going when I do a live or when I get on somebody else's live.
Well, thanks to them, you created a best friend in Mama Bear.
And the thing is I believe that this created a very, very good friendship between Mama Bear and I, and even the other lovely people that I have come across. Because the people that I have come across in here, they're very honest. They're very straightforward. There's no pulling punches with these females or males. Um, Eventually, they're going to get the answer they want. And that's what it comes down to. Um, but life is what you make it. You want a nice, easy life. That's the way you're going to make it. Um, but it'll be a cold day in hell before I do a live and one of his people or one of his panda crew or fucking trolls or minions, because I see, I don't look at them as the panda crew. I look at them as little trolls or little minions, because they are trolls, because they make up fake accounts and they go on everybody's live to get information or do whatever so they can run back and share it with Andrew. Andrew, do your own research, my friend. Do your own research. If I have peanut butter, no baked cookies, we rule. Oh, if you have them, well, I ain't got them. You better start shipping some up to me. Like I was saying, I don't know. And that's what it is. He has his little minions out there trolling the live, the YouTube live sessions to get information and to play in his background. I don't have no YouTube live playing in my background. I do this all on my own.
If he sat there all
The only thing I need to do, the only thing I'm going to do is maybe play some music, and I'm going to start coming up with a couple different songs for opening. Um, but like I said, I'm going to get into this a little bit more. I'm going to figure some shit out here. to where I can open up with music or, put up some different pictures and, I'll figure it all out. I got some good people out there that, oh, Nada. She says, I make special peanut butter cookies. I bet you do. I used to eat those same peanut butter cookies you're talking about. But I'll figure out all this shit out. Um, and there's a lot of good people that I conversate with here and I chit chat with on lives and stuff like that. And I'm sure if I have any questions or any concerns about how to do something, oh yeah, that's yes, yes. I thought about that, Mama Bear. Let the bodies hit the floor is one of the songs I need to play.
And thanks to Andrew, we may have to open up what we've been all looking for.
And with the key that Andrew has provided for us to open up, we might come up with a little bit more information on a lot of different shit, because I've been watching quite a few of his lives, previous lives and shit like that. And we're doing some research and trying to get some new information and stuff like that. And that's where that's where they like mistake me. I may not act like I'm one of the smartest crayons. I'm not one of the sharpest crayons in the box, but I sure can be the fucking brightest. Okay? I can be the brightest. I'm not stupid. I can do research. I have many opportunity. I have many, if I want to really get hot and heavy into this, listen, I can have my father custom build me a computer to where I have cameras and mics and all that bullshit. My father does that. And I might end up doing that. My father's got one of my computers down there now. I might just have him go through it and redo a lot of stuff on it, and I may get hot and heavy into it. God only knows. Let's see what the future holds. But yeah, I mean, I didn't really expect this live to go for an hour, almost an hour, but I'm glad it did. But like I said, it is. It's just ridiculous. With the wishing death on people. I'm sure that they wouldn't want people to wish death on them or their family or their children or anything like that. I don't want no child to be harmed in any way, shape, or form. No child deserves it. Good morning, Connie, Connie, Connie. Give them booby shakes. Come on, the booby shakes. Miss Connie, you came in a little late, which is fine. Um, but Tammy did come across a little short that Roe did about you not showing your belly and all that bunch of bullshit and how you met a man on the internet and shipped him out there, fucked him, and then shipped him back. Well, I just had to set it straight that no, you didn't have me shipped out there. I shipped myself out there and I shipped myself back home. Um, so if you see that and if you hear, if you watch the live from, beginning, you'll see what I said. Um, but I just wanted to set.
Rose just jealous because you got the taste of munch and she couldn't.
Yeah, that's what Rose jealous of. You got the taste of it. She didn't. All right, let's see. Angel on Earth. She says I want to buy the Amityville house for. Oh, I bet you do. There's Tina has a Pina. Who the hell is that?
Get rid of that shithead.
Yeah, listen, block that Tina. I don't want her. I'm sure I know who it is.
They all think it's Suzette, and it's not. That's the funny part. I haven't even been doing YouTube that long, and I already figured out who it was.
I'll have Mama Bear tell me who it is. And yes, you're very right. Come on, Ace.
Come on, guys. Out. Let's go.
You and I, Connie, if you really think about it, you and I didn't stop being friends. Yeah, we might not have talked there for a little while, but you asked Tammy. I never said anything negative about you. But that's what it is. She's jealous. Listen, I don't even know if I'd even want to wake up in the same fucking house as fucking Row, to be honest with you. Come on, Mama Bear, you got to tell me. Well, whoever it is, Tina, thank you for joining the live. Thank you for joining. Greatly appreciate it. Tina has a peanut left. I'm sure. That goes to my grave. Promise you that. Oh boy. So, if the Panda Crew wants to come out and play, no, you're not Suzette Brown. No, you're not Act. Well, that's who I thought it would be Act Right. Because I could see Act Right doing that. That's what's funny. I could see Act Right doing that. No, you're not Tammy. I got Tammy right here. Nope, you're not me. You be whoever you want to be. You're more than welcome to come on my live anytime you want. There you go. I enjoy seeing you on. One of my mods, my group, but they are amazing. Yes, they are very amazing. Like I said, Tina, you're more than welcome to join us anytime you want. And if you don't mind, I will actually make you a mod. I think Nada is a mod too. I think Tammy made a lot of you guys mods because I know you guys won't take no shit. You guys will weed out the bullshit. But yeah, I mean, when it comes down to the negativity and the bullshit with these guys, I mean, it's just it's ridiculous. And then they want to, when they sit there and they talk all that shit about all of us or all of you or all of whoever, but then when you come back at them, they have a problem. There shouldn't be a problem. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. You don't want to get shit talked about you. Don't talk shit about other people. Don't wish death on other people. That's the way it is. Um, and I'm sure it won't stop. I'm sure they'll still continue on doing what they do. Um, it's sad because they must not have a life. None of them probably have a job. Um, I don't know if any of them really even know how to work, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't know. I don't know out there in Michigan where Lips lives. I don't know if cow tipping or bullfucking is considered a job. I don't know if you get paid for it. I don't know if you get paid in semen or fucking big cow patties. I don't know how that operates. I don't know how that the country girls work out there, especially in Michigan where Lips lives. Or I don't know, maybe she's doing I keep on hearing about that video or whatever she with her child with the animal or the stuffed animal or whatever. I don't even know how true that is. I've never seen it, so I can't sit there. But if that's true, holy shit, you got something wrong with you. You belong on some medication, girl. You need to go see a psychiatrist. But yeah, they're all useless. They all should have been swallowed. Yes, starting lies and drama. No one of the Panda crew has a job. Absolutely none of them, and I know this to be a fact. Well, we all know Andrew doesn't have a job. He considers being a full time parent as a job. Well, guess what? Yes, being a parent is a full time job. To be honest with you, that's any parent to be real. That's Mama Bear when she, if she raised her kids when they were younger. That's no different than Nada. That's no different than Actrite. That's no different than Tammy. That's no different than myself. Um, it is what it is. None of us are perfect parents. I'm sure we all made mistakes. I'm sure we probably learn from our mistakes. Let's try a hose on the side. Well, Connie, I don't know. You know, I don't know if I'd want to see that standing on a corner. Um, Me personally, I'll be honest with you. I mean, before I would see Lip standing on a corner hoeing out, me personally, and Tammy standing right here in the kitchen. I'd rather see, and I haven't physically seen Haley, but I'd rather see Haley standing out on the corner. At least she'd probably get more business. You know, that's the Louisiana girl. You know, I get the biggest trip kick out of her. I like Haley. Um, the only job Snot Nose has is babysitting her niece and her mama. That's it. She can't stay sober long enough, and she has all them dogs inside and outside. Oh yeah, yep. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure, you know, or cow tipping. Maybe I don't know. Maybe she got hooked up with a local farmer and she does cow tipping for a job. Maybe she gets paid with you know, some fresh meat, and not the fresh meat that we're all thinking about. It ain't going to be called prime rib. I'll tell you that. It's prime something, but not prime rib. She doesn't get much. Yeah, I'm sure she probably doesn't get much business. And I don't know about Ro. I don't know even know. I got to go and get some chores done. Have a good day. Yes, Nada. Thank you very much. You have a good day too. But it is what it is. Whatever they choose to do in life, that's if they're happy with it, let them be happy with it. They like to shit talk. Let them shit talk because I can shit talk too, and you're not going to hurt my feelings, like I said. But I will make sure that I hurt yours. And I'm sure there's plenty of people that are on my live that can hurt your feelings also. Because if they already haven't hurt your feelings, which I believe they have, you wouldn't still be acting the way you do. You know? So unless you have the proper information, Panda Crew, don't run your mouth about really shit that you don't really know much about. And Ro, I'm talking about you because you really don't know that whole situation between Connie and I. You only hear from your little minion, Dippy, or Andrew. Okay, what happened between Connie and I happened between Connie and I. If you don't like it, go find yourself a man. Go find yourself someone that can fix your screens or do things for you. Because honestly, I'll sit here and say I think Connie and I had more of a friendship than more than a relationship. Um, of course, we didn't know each other, that long. I only spent a little bit of time out there, 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, or whatever the case may be. But it doesn't help either, when you try to, um, know somebody but then you're also under the influence when you're trying to know somebody. So, when you're talking, when you're under the influence of alcohol or whatever the case may be, um, you really don't remember per se. Okay. Um, One thing I can say is Connie is a very sweet person. Um, she's a good-hearted person. Sometimes I think she's too, you know, kind-hearted sometimes. Especially with the way people would talk to her and treat her and stuff like that. Um, no female, no woman, no person, as a matter of fact, deserves that. But that's that what we say, crazy world, you know, and it sucks, and there's no need for it. But just to let these females know that are on this panel, I will never just sit back and watch somebody disrespect any of you. I will be the first one to get on there and bash the shit out of anybody that I have to defend you guys. That's a guarantee, and I believe Mama Bear can verify that. Um, I know Haley can because I will listen. I don't care where Haley is. I don't care where I am. I don't care where Tammy is. I will get on one of her if she's live and if they're on there and they're bashing her. I'm going to get on that live and I'm going to guarantee you this, that once I get on that live, they will get the fuck off. They will fucking stream it in the background of their live because they don't have the balls to get on there and start conversating. Have a good day, A1. All they are shit talkers and pussies. They can't get on a live. I dropped the link. Tammy dropped the link the other night. I seen White Boy. Somebody was on there. Was it last night or yesterday or whatever? Somebody was probably talking shit. He dropped a link twice, and that person that was talking shit did not get on there. Why? When you have people that drop links that tell you to get on there, talk your shit, get on there, show your face, let them know what you think, let them know what you're gonna say, tell them exactly what you're gonna say. I think they might have a little bit more respect for you if you did that rather than not answer them at all or ignore their link. That says one thing: you're hiding something. You're scared, just like Mama Bear just said. They scared, just not scared, but straight up pussy. It's just like now. They can join in all they want. I don't have nobody blocked. As far as I know, none of my mods have anybody blocked. Mama Bear says don't block them, don't time them out. Well, guess what? Mama Bear and Tammy is the head honchos of the mods. They do what they want to do, just like my mods can do what they want to do. If my mods and Tammy and Mama Bear feel that shit's getting out of hand, boom, they'll take care of it. I don't need to take care of shit. That's why Andrew always says he does not have anybody blocked. He probably doesn't. I'll give him that. He probably doesn't. He probably does not have anybody physically blocked, but he has his little minions do it because they are yellow belly cowards. Very well put, Mama Bear. But I also want you to know, A1, to where being that you're a mod, I'll tell you just like I tell everybody else. You do what you got to do. If you feel that there's disrespect and you don't want to deal with it, you time them out or you block them. That's what it comes down to. That's what it comes down to, most definitely. You You don't have to. You're a good listen, you make my coffee so good.
Hey guys, he's using me to make him coffee.
Coffee. Tammy's my coffee bitch.
Lucky I need a cup.
She is the best coffee maker I've ever had in 53 years. Yeah, I know his moms do. His mods, you know. And then it's like, listen, and the thing is when he went on there yesterday when Suzette thought I kissed and made up with him, and I got the biggest kick out of that because I love Suzette. Suzette's awesome. Just to put it out there. Um, I love the way she says, "Oh, hello, ma." I love her accent. I do. I love her accent. But she's awesome. I love her to death, and I don't even physically know her. I've never even seen a picture of her or anything like that, and it doesn't bother me. I love her voice. I love her accent. I love the way she talks. Um, and when she came out with, oh Munch, and Mama Bear said the same thing. Oh yeah, I got to pull him up. I got questions for him. I knew what the questions were going to be, which is fine. No, I didn't kiss and make up with him. That'll never happen. I'll guarantee you that. Mama Bear, I will promise you that will never, ever, ever, ever happen. Okay. Um, but I just wanted to put, when he came up on his live, what really got me is that, he's got his 17-year-old son as a mod. And his 17-year-old son is on there and acting like he's a 12-year-old kid, acting like, I would believe Kay would probably react a little bit better on a live than his son. But no, I didn't make up with him. I just wanted to put it out there. I wanted him to come clean. That's all I ever wanted him to do. I wanted him to come out and say how he was on that case. Okay, I didn't. Nobody ever said anything about you being the head honcho on the case. But for you to reside in that house and for them to be able to, everybody has to be listed on that case. All right. You may not be collecting anything. If you are, you are. If you're not, you're not. There's no shame in the game to anybody that does that. If you need the help, you need the help. I don't knock anybody, but try to provide for your family too, in the same sense. One thing I can say is, Cattle King and Mama Bear, they're out there hustling every day. Anytime I've talked to Mama Bear, there's been times to where I've talked to Mama Bear while they're doing a job. Many times I've been on there, talked to Cattle King doing a job. Cattle King has sent me pictures of the shit he's been doing. What is your fucking hatred with Cattle King? What? Because Cattle King doesn't take no fucking bullshit? Well, guess what? He's not the only one in this world that doesn't take bullshit. You're gonna poke and poke and pry at that bear. And listen, I'll put it out there again. Mama Bear and Cattle King, they're more than welcome back to my house anytime they want. But next time they're going to stay a little bit longer. We're going to have ourselves a little bit of fun. We might take a walk. We might take the dogs for a walk on Frog Hollow Road. Okay? We might just walk down the streets with the dogs. And just applying everyone in the house to be yes, when you apply for that, Connie, it's no different here in New York either. It's just like I explained to everybody yesterday, when my daughter moved into my house, because she was on parole and she had to do programs and counseling and stuff like that because that was part of her release. She collected food stamps. So when she did that, I had to be listed on that paperwork, and so didn't Tammy. My daughter only collected it for herself. I work. Like I said to my daughter, if I don't expect nothing out of you. If you want to help with food wise, that's fine. And she did. She did. But Tammy and I buy the food for the house. Do we eat pretty fucking good? Like I said, absolutely. Do we eat prime rib, filet mignon, T-bone steaks, New York strip? Do I make fresh homemade macaroni and cheese? Do I cook breakfast for us? Sausage, bacon, eggs, doesn't matter. Toast, home fries, doesn't matter. We buy our food. So there's no shame. If you need help, get the help that you need. It's out there. You know, take advantage of it.
But don't be a slime ball.
But don't be a negative Nancy and say that you don't collect it at all. When I've given physical proof, and that's not even all the physical proof. Yes, we buy food out of pocket, Tina. And yes, buying food out of pocket, it's not cheap, but you know what? We do it. And like I said, prime rib, filet mignon, strip, New York strip. I'll buy a tomahawk here and there. Tomahawk is a very, very good steak. And Connie's right. It's cheaper to buy it, because I can go out and buy a whole loin of prime rib. I have a vacuum sealer bag system, and I cut my steaks. And out of a loin, I can get probably anywhere from 8, 10, 12 meals just for me and Tammy, just out of one big piece of prime rib. Well, Tina, the thing is he doesn't buy anything out of pocket. It's never him buying it out of his pocket, because you have to have a job and you have to make money to buy it out of pocket. And if he does buy anything out of pocket, he goes to Dollar General and goes to the freezer and buys those dollar chicken sandwiches, which some of them ain't too bad. I've had them a couple times, especially when I was down at the hotel, when I was remodeling the hotel down in Cooksaki, which Mama Bear will tell you that, because many times I spoke to her, even when I was down there on video chat and whatever. And that's when we were all talking. It was Mama Bear, Jesse Ghost, Connie. Connie will tell you. Connie will tell you. She's spoken to me many times down at the hotel. Andrew, Elisa, Jiffy.
That's why the people are attacking Andrew.
And that's the thing. That's why Dippy and Lips and Roe is feeding off this, because that's all he does is feed them bullshit. If you don't have facts about me, don't talk about me. If you want to know facts about me, ask me. I'll tell you facts. If you want to sit there and ask me if I'm an asshole, absolutely. I can be the biggest asshole going. Thor. Oh, stop it, Fluffy. But they exaggerate. They add a little bit more shit to what's said than what was actually said. And no, Connie, you're absolutely right. He don't even have a pocket. He don't have a pocket. He don't have a pan and to piss in, and he doesn't have a window to throw it out of.
He has that nice outfit that's kind of 10 times the size.
But people like that, they just, I don't know, they thrive off the negativity. They think they can, honestly, they think they can ruffle my feathers, but they can't really. They just get underneath my skin when they go on there and they try to, wish death on somebody. You definitely don't do that. Like I said previously, I wouldn't do that. We all listen. Every one of our time, every one of us as people, as human beings, our time is very limited on this earth. So the time that we are on this earth is very, very precious. We have family that care about us.
What is that? They're gonna do what? They're gonna make people think I turned you into a born again.
Born again? No, I ain't no born again. Listen, Connie, you know the thing is Connie just said Ro just sounds insane when she talks. None of it makes sense. Well, listen, for one, I can't. Some of the words that come out of her mouth, I mean, I can't even really understand. I mean, maybe
Like Google shit.
maybe if she put some teeth in, you know, maybe if she put some teeth in, her words will come out a little bit clearer. I should say. Keep on, and their wish will turn on them. Oh yeah, absolutely. That's karma. Karma's a bitch. She's insane. I believe she escaped the asylum in Jersey. Yeah. Well, listen, you know, the thing is what she doesn't understand is the blacktop families that I know, they're insane. Um, there are a lot of, oh, I'll say it, they're gypsies, they're rumneys, you know. Um, I've worked with them on and off for over 30 years of my life. I know a lot of them, a lot. When I say a lot, I know a lot. I've worked in many different states with them. I've seen some crazy shit with those boys. The females are not that much better. I'll tell you that. The females are just as crazy as the fucking men. Um, I'm very, very close with that community, the gypsy community, because of family. And that's because of my ex-wife. But I also worked with them 5 years, 4 or 5 years, even before I met my wife. Um, so I'm very, very close with them type of people. And they have a lot of connections. And there's a lot of them that live in Jersey. There's a lot of them that live in Pennsylvania and Virginia and Carolinas and Connecticut, Maine, uh, Nevada, Missouri, Texas. I'm sure there's some gypsies down there in Louisiana and all that, but that's nor here or there. So Ro can run her mouth all she wants because she really knows nothing about me. Only the bullshit that she's been told from the little minion crew.
Ask Ro, she knows Young Loco from Jersey.
Yeah, Ro, you know a gentleman named Young Loco in Jersey? You might want to quiet down your mouth if you don't want to know him. He's a crazy motherfucker. I tell you that.
He's like one of my best friends.
You know, so, but I honestly, I enjoy doing this. You know, I don't know if if I fluster anybody's fucking feathers. I don't know if I get their panties in an uproar. I don't know if I get their fucking G-string, just a little bit tighter around their nut sack.
Your first couple of videos, they better go away.
You know. But yeah, that true fact. You have. Oh, I know, because you want to know something, Connie. It's funny how you say that. Nobody over on Andrew's live, Andrew's crew likes her for real, not a soul. And it's and you know, now that you say that, and I'm going to pinpoint something out. And Tammy brought it to my attention the other day because Andrew was doing a live and Ro was asking a lot of questions, and her questions got overlooked. He would jump over her to the next person and answer that person's question or comment on that person's comment. Not once did Andrew ever read Ro's question or comment or whatever.
He would ignore her.
He would ignore her until it benefited him, and it would be how many minutes later, 10, 15, 20 minutes later, doesn't matter. If that's your crew, that's your people, you answer the question. You pay attention to your crew because those are the people that are standing behind you.
Just like that one.
He doesn't get that. You want to call these people your friends. You want to say that they're under the Panda Crew protection. You know what? But you disregard the people that are standing behind you, that are backing you up. that are talking shit for you because you talk shit to only certain people. See, the thing is, you know, you go on there and you make a title of, um, I thought he was going to be a man and let this go. I don't know who. It sure the hell ain't me. You know, you're just this. You know, and that's pretty sad when they did. She was in jail. So that's how good friends they are. If they don't know that you were in jail, being that you were in jail, they should have supported you. They should have made sure you had your hygiene. They should have made sure you had commissary. They should have made sure you had your coffee and your sugar and your creamer and all that shit and decent food to eat. But see, those are your friends. Those are your friends, Ro. Okay? And Connie's the one, or not Connie, Tammy's the one that brought that to my attention. That he just oversees what you say and how you comment. He ignores you. Might want to pick better friends. But that's right, you can't. For the fact is because you've talked so much shit about people and you've burned so many fucking bridges that nobody wants to be your friend. So that's where you feel at home. That's where you feel love. Go see Daddy Andrew. I wonder if Ro realizes that at all with the one like from Selena she gets on the crap she posts. Nobody likes her stuff. Nobody. Oh, I wondered the same thing. You know, I wondered the same thing, Connie. You know, and that's the thing. You know, who's this Selena girl? You know, I've heard good. You know, I really haven't heard anything good about her. You know, I heard she, you know, might talk a little shit here and there. I haven't personally come across her. I probably can't wait to. You know, because you know me. I, yeah, you know, and that's the thing. And what Tammy has noticed is that Selena goes on lives and shit, and goes on other shit and mocks Andrew, but then she's on his panel. Why? Mama Bear says, "Hell, I got Selena smokes a glass dragon on Rose's panel." Nice. But that's the type of people they are. You know, welcome to the panda world. You know, I can do bad all by myself. Oh, Selena and Ro are like Spike and Chester laugh out loud. Very true, Tina. Very true. Very, very true. I don't watch a lot of the other lives. I mean, I'll get on. You know, I like watching White Boys. Um, Ernie, I think he was on last night, or just first thing this morning or something. I can't remember.
He's a little crazy.
He's a little crazy. Um, you know, but that's another thing. You know, one person is on his live as a moderator, but you also see that same person on Andrew's. You know, so is that person getting information for Andrew, or is that person getting information for Ernie? Is he or she playing both sides? Um, she just doesn't know, he or she doesn't know what side of the fence to be on yet. Um, I don't know. I don't know. You know, it's like Benny Key. You know, BK. I never met him. I don't know him. You know, once in a while I'll catch a little bit of his live here and there. Or watch, you know, a previous live. Same thing with Lips. Lips doesn't have a single true friend. She won't even do her own lives because she knows nobody will show. Well, probably not. You know, I'm very surprised that Andrew gets as many people as he does. Um, you know, and speaking of Andrew, you know, even with PG, I mean, are you that upset that she gets that many likes or that many views or she has that many subs or she has that many members? You know, don't 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 be jealous. You know, she's got a twist to her own channel. Put your twist to your channel. You know, just like everybody else. Everybody else. I mean, hey, everybody has their own twist to their own channel. you know. And like I said, once I get a little bit more used to this and get a little bit more involved, you know, and I'm sure if I reach out to Mama Bear, Nada, Act Right, you know, Suzette, A1, I'm sure they'll give me, you know, the ins and outs and, you know, um, I mean, what I can do, what I can't do, you know, you know, once I get used to this, it's going to be a totally different ballpark. You know, I'm going to do it for the right reasons. I mean, I'm doing it for the right reasons now because I just love calling people out on their bullshit because they don't know me. They don't know Tammy. You know, one thing I can say is the people that I have met on here, you know, you can pretty well, you know, when you video chat with somebody, you know, FaceTime somebody or whatever the case may be, and even talk to them for a long period of time, um, you get to know them, you know. Um, I love Mama Bear. You know, I do. I love Mama Bear. Mama Bear is a down to earth woman. Um, she lays it out on the table. She says she says it how she sees it. You know, just like Act Right, Suzette, um, A1, Joe Popelwick, um, all of them, every one of them. You know, they put it out on the table like they see it. There's no fucking butter coating shit, sugar coating shit. Butter coating, sugar coating. You can do you. I can coat whatever I want with anything I want. But you know what? They don't like it because you don't sugarcoat it. You say it how you see it, and you say it how you want to say it, and that's what pisses everybody off. Tina said something. Oh boy, I can just imagine. Sometimes I think Andrew gets on somebody's eyes. Well, yeah, yeah. I was going to try to figure. I was going to try to word it differently, but yeah, because he feels left out. Yes, you are A1. You are who you are, and you're a very good person. So just keep on doing that. Don't ever change.
We'll go back to what's important.
Well, yeah, we'll do. We'll, you know, we'll get back to the more important shit when we get a little bit more situated. I want to. Do they know AT&T? They reach out and touch someone. I know. I don't have AT&T, but I can still reach out and touch someone. But like I said, once I get a little bit more involved, I mean, I want to, you know, I want to get, you know, I love joking around. I love calling people out on their bullshit. Um, I don't thrive off it. They just push me to that point. Um, I would do it for any of you girls. I would always stand behind you girls. Um, that's why I get very upset when he or they go on Haley's live.
Yeah, that's what topped it off.
You know, and that's not even what topped it off for me. What topped it off for me is when he had the balls to personally call Michelina and bring up something that happened 2 years, 10 years ago. You know, you don't do that. That's something that you don't bring in on a live, honestly. You know, um, then they bring up this bullshit about, you know, an RSO, you know, of you know, they're saying Cattle King's an RSO. Me personally,
It would be online.
yeah, it would be definitely, you know, I don't believe it until you can show me physical proof. Don't black out no fucking names. Don't black out no fucking sentences, no words. I want to see physical proof. You motherfuckers are just this big saying of receipts, 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 facts, facts, facts. I want receipts. I want paperwork. I want facts. I want to see his full fucking name on an RSO fucking paperwork. Prove it to me.
Oh yeah,
Prove it to me. Online. Okay?
Google his name.
Because I'm sure Cattle King would not have no problem giving me his full name. And I can do a research on him myself. But I don't need to because you want to know why? Because I don't fucking believe it. He does not seem like that type of person. Yes, he's a little fucking nutty in the head. I'll agree with everybody on that, and I'm sure Mama Bear can fucking concur to that. Okay.
There's no other cattle
But
king.
you want to know something? Cattle King, don't ever fucking change because I love you for the way you are, buddy.
Just like they were on a live talking shit, restreaming one of Mama Bear's thing with Cattle King when he was confronting Andrew, and Andrew rage quit, and then him and Elise are over on another live mocking him, and he's like, "Oh, you're just mad because you lost people and they came over this way." Well, kind of looks like if you do your own research, Mama Bear's got way more people. So who lost out? Sure as hell ain't Mama Bear.
All right, so who's this? Who's this Rapture Ready? That's the first time I ever seen him.
Well, I got a lot of he-she's in there.
I talked to Jesus. I talked to Jesus just yesterday. He told me I'm going to be just fine. But he said, Ro, Lips, and Andrew are fucked. Really, Connie? Really?
That was Connie?
Yep, that was Connie. That was Connie. I'm glad you did speak to Jesus yesterday. You definitely need Jesus. You definitely need Jesus in your life. Oh, it's a troll? Is it one of his trolls or? Because that's the first time I ever seen. That's the first time I ever seen that one. Oh, when you go on there, make sure you make Tina a mod. Tina, we're gonna make you a mod, if you don't mind, if you accept that.
I'll look for it. He or she.
Jesus loves me. This I know. Well, Connie, you know, if
she survived you, I think Jesus has her back.
Yeah, if you survived me for the 2.5, 3 weeks that I was there, Jesus has definitely got your back. So yeah, we'll definitely make you a mod, Tina. Definitely want you on that. You know.
We are. I plan on going.
You know, I love, you know, I love all you guys. I truly do. You guys are awesome. We have a lot of fun. We have laughs. We can joke around. We don't ever take, that's one thing I can say. We don't take it to heart. We laugh it off. We make it fun, per se. We do. We make it fun. But we also get serious too. Oh, good morning, SS Brown baby. Team Munch. Yeah, Team Munch. I'm gonna fuck shit up now.
So I'll have to put that down.
Suzette, you busted our recover. Tina goes, I'm Suzette on 2 devices.
I'm about 6.
Well, yeah, like I said, we joke around, we laugh, we have a good time, but we also talk about serious shit too. They don't like that, they always want to bash people and shit like that, wish death, but it is what it is. Let them be, I look at it like this, if that makes them happy, if that makes their world go tick tock, or go make their world go round and round, hey, good luck. Good luck with it. I know I'm not gonna thrive off that shit, I'll talk about it. But just don't, I just want them to understand you're not gonna go on here or any place or anybody else's fucking live and bash them and wish death and expect nobody to say anything, because I'll be the first one to jump on there and bash you. So for the little minion crew, don't ever come on. Don't ever bash the people that I talk to on here, please, because it's not going to work out too well for you. It definitely most not. I can run your names. I can get information on you. I can get your arrest record if I want. I can get all the information I want. Don't make me pull them cards, because I will and I can at any given fucking time. Andrew, she knows that I have a lot of family that can pull a lot of fucking strings in a lot of different areas, and I can get information on a lot of different shit. So
just keep that in the back of your mind. Just keep that. You might want to take notes. That means you have to get a pen and a pad of paper. If you need help spelling words, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be more than glad to help you spell words. If you want, I'm going to hold a pre-K session this afternoon in my living room. We're going to start off with our ABCs and our 1, 2, 3s. If you want, I can put Sesame Street on because I know Big Bird is a very, very good. He says his numbers very, very well. And then you got the count, and I like the way he does his numbers too. Um, but yeah, school can be in session anytime you want. And if you're good, I might graduate you from pre-K and put you in kindergarten. You know, and then let's get on this subject. I mean, it's like you got pictures of your granddaughter. You say it's your granddaughter, which maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. Yes, Tina, let's have a spelling bee. Andrew, I want you to spell supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Let's go on that subject. You talk about your son Hunter. You have pictures of your grandchild, if it's your grandchild, if it's his child, whatever the case may be. Um, I don't really see Hunter on any of your lives that much. That was the very first time yesterday I seen the other son. Um, how do you conversate? I mean, do you stay in contact with your son Hunter every day, or is he tired of your bullshit? You know, um, I know somebody. I know somebody personally that's a little bit closer to Hunter than you are. So A1 is a. She says I am a special ed teacher. Well, listen, don't come up here because there's a lot of fucking special ed people up here. I could keep you busy for years up here. Years. Yeah, most definitely a lot of IEPs. I mean, I'm telling you, it's ridiculous up here. After being after being up here, supercalifragilistic. Connie, you look that up on the goddamn internet. You don't know how to spell that word. But yeah, special ed, I give you a lot of credit. Um, um, that's a gift right there. Honestly, that's a gift. Because I remember going to school with a couple, kids that were special ed, and there were people that picked on them and stuff like that, and I stood up for them type of people back then. Um, and I don't like it. I mean, I had a good friend of mine. Him and I were childhood friends, and he stuttered a lot. And one kid, picked on him and started mocking him. And I grabbed him by his fucking neck and tossed him up over the back of the seat and beat the shit out of him behind the seat. You don't do that. That be no different than somebody. And one thing I can sit here and say, when it came to Andrew and Elisa, um, the two girls would be bullied, you know, and I'm the type of person. I mean, I would tell the girls, you know what? You get bullied, you go to the teacher. The teacher doesn't do nothing, you get bullied again, you go to the principal. The principal doesn't do nothing, you get bullied again, you throw punch them. You throw punch them. Yes, I don't agree with putting your hands on a child, but how much bullying can a child take without an adult's help before that child takes matters into her or his own hands? So that would be me. I would sit there and I would tell those girls, you know what? If you don't get no satisfaction out of a teacher, uh, um, a principal, or a counselor, or anything like that, I tell them all the time, throw punch the shit out of them. Guaranteed, you throw punch the shit out of them, they won't fucking bully you no more. Guaranteed.
And they got bullied for reasons.
And they got bullied
for reasons
of the way they lived.
And that's not their fault.
And it most definitely is not their fault because, you know, kids are innocent. You know, all due honesty, kids are innocent. You know, and that's just like, you know, I'll say it again. You know, it's like Summer. Summer was an innocent little girl, and it's a shame. It really is. It's a shame. You know, but you know, I can't get on that subject because that's going to be for a later date. Especially when I get more involved in this. Um, but yeah, I do. I really look forward to getting more and more involved in this. I want to, you know, I'm going to get a hold of my dad. I'm going to have him, you know, hook up my computer or whatever, you know, hook it up real good. Um, get a camera, get a mic, um, just do some crazy shit, you know, play around, you know, and that's just going to be me. Yes, bullies are scared in reality. That's a very true fact. It's a very true fact. You know, because the thing is with the bullies, we don't know how they're being treated at home. We don't know if they're being bullied by their parents or by their siblings or by their other relatives. We don't know that. We don't know what their mental state is. We don't know what is physically happening to them or mentally happening to them or emotionally happening to them. Are they being shown, you know, the love that they should be shown, or are they being abused, or are they being mistreated? Whatever the case may be, you know, we don't know. We don't know, you know, and it's sad, you know, because that's what this world is coming to. You know, back when I was younger, I mean, we didn't have a lot of bullies, you know, here or there. Not like today. It's like every time you turn around, this one's bullying that one, and then that one's bullying that one, and it's like it's just a revolving circle. You know, one week this child's liked, and the next week that child's being bullied. It's the same way for adults. Adults are getting to be the same way sometimes. You know, and so if they want to consider me going on here and being a bully, I'm bullying them. You take it for what it is. No, I'm not bullying you. I'm just putting your shit out there on the fucking table because you like to fucking degrade people and fucking talks down to people and fucking wish death upon people. Well, it's an eye for an eye, my friends. It's an eye for an eye. You get what you receive what you give. You want to give disrespect, you're gonna receive disrespect in the fucking same manner. That's what it comes down to.
No, they want to disrespect.
You know, you can disrespect me all you want. You know, I can take the disrespect. But you know what? Like I said, I'm not a perfect person. I've done my wrong. I've done my wrongdoings and stuff like that. You live and learn. You move on with life. You make things better. And like I said, you know, I am sober. It's a totally different world when you're sober. Totally different world.
Yeah, you got 4 cats and a fucking dog in the bed.
You know, it's like right now I got 1, 2, 3. I got 4 cats in the bed, and I got Thor. Thor's my boy. You know, my 7-week-old puppy, which is going to be 3 years old on the 25th. That's my boy. You know, Tammy and I've been together for 2 years. Yes, I put her through shit. I put her through hell. But you know what? We're getting through it. We're living life. We're doing what we got to do, and we're happy about it. We're happy. If you can't be happy in your life, there's no sense of carrying on. You know, and another thing I want to bring up, and I meant to bring this up earlier. You know, everybody questioned their marriage. Okay. I was there. I walked her down the aisle, down the driveway, whatever the fuck they want to call it. Which, if I ever got married in a backyard, it would be set up totally different. Like, it would be awesome. He goes on there and he takes a picture of the marriage certificate. Okay. They black some stuff out, white it out, whatever their fucking case may be. But if you really look at that picture that he sent, and if you look down on the left hand part of that paperwork, it says the seal. Okay. Well, I know when I got married, I had to get a marriage license, marriage certificate, the whole 9 yards. And when I got it mailed back to me after I got married, where it says seal, it was stamped. you know, those little round things to where, like, when you get notary, go to a notary republic and you get something notarized, you get that seal. Connie knows what I'm talking about. Well, if you really notice on that paper, the marriage certificate that he sent a picture of, okay, it's not stamped. It's not stamped. It doesn't have that seal. So my question is, and just like Connie just said, did they turn the license in? That's the question. Did they turn the license in? Are they legally married? This is the question, because that seal is not stamped. Where that says seal, it's not stamped. Why isn't it stamped? What are you hiding? Is your marriage a fraud? And Andrew, you should know how that works because you were married before. Just like Elisa. Elisa was married before. You know, I'm just putting it out there. I could be wrong. You know, and A1, you're right, you know, but I'm just, you know, that's just something that caught my eye. You know, so I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention if they got to see that picture or not. And like I said, down in the left-hand corner, it states right in bold black letter, seal, and it's not stamped. You know, and then when you get your marriage license back, it comes in a nice, pretty envelope. Yes, you're very right, Connie, because I remember when I got married and I got my marriage license, my marriage certificate. But my marriage certificate also had a seal on it, stamp of, you know, just stamp, you know. So I don't know how that works, but I just figured I'd put it out there. I just wanted to bring it to everybody's attention because, you know, there's no such thing as common law marriage anymore. That hasn't been in effect for, oh my God, years, many years. You know. So if anybody else can find out any kind of information about that, feel free to put it out there. Feel free. He knows nothing. The woman did it. Did it if it was done. Yeah. Yeah. Elisa always takes care of all that shit, you know. Well, I bet he has a lot of advice. All right. So with that needless to be said, you know, I'm going to get off here. I greatly appreciate everybody coming on this morning. I didn't expect people to come on. I was just going to do a short live. I didn't expect it to be 2 hours. But I do. I greatly appreciate everybody. I like the support. I love the support that I get from you guys. I love the comments. I love the questions.
Makes you want to.
It just makes me want to do more. You know, pull these people out of the woodwork and get them ruffled a little bit. You know, because if you notice, you know, when you ruffle them up, sir, I am a 19-year-old boy. Any advice for life? Well, Harry, I'm not sure who you are. Never seen you before. Not sure if anybody has heard of you. Not sure if you're one of their trolls. But the only thing I can give you, sir, you know, 19 years old, make the right decisions, make the right choices. That's the best advice I can give you. You know, make the right choices. But with that being said, my fellow people that I enjoy talking to, love all you guys. You guys are awesome. I love the comments. I love the questions. I love the joking around. I love the laughs. But you guys are awesome. And I plan on doing a lot more. You know, I plan on getting a little bit more involved in this, and we're going to get to some serious shit. Because I'll stand behind you guys, just like you guys stand behind me. You guys support me, I support you. Harry started a channel on 10/24. Okay, well, Harry's more than welcome to come on here as long as no bullshit starts. I'm okay with that. As long as these guys are fine with it, I'm fine with it. A1 just stated that he did start a channel on 10/24. So yeah, so he's got a year in the YouTube. I'm just new to this. I'm only a few weeks. I've been on lives before, other lives. But yeah, thank you everybody. Tina, it's a pleasure. We're gonna make you a mod. You have a nice day also. A1, it's always a pleasure. Connie, always a pleasure. Um, love all you guys. So with that being said, I'm gonna get off. I'm gonna go continue my day because I got some things to do. And until the next time, see you then. Bye bye, everybody.